welcome to NTD China News. I'm Karen Chang. Making headlines this Friday, January 4th. A group of reporters taking on Chinese censors. A Uyghur writer has reportedly died in prison. And who's behind these supporters of Hong Kong's embattled leader? Just days into the new year, a group of writers in southern China are boldly taking on the local propaganda authorities. They are from the Southern Media Group based in Guangdong. It's known for its edgy reporting, and editors there have objected before about censorship, but nothing quite like this latest move and the support they're getting online.
The battle over free press and media censorship in China is not new, but now it's turned surprisingly public in southern China. 6 journalists from the Southern Weekly magazine made a formal complaint on Thursday against Guangdong's provincial propaganda chief. Another 51 former reporters who worked for the Southern Media Group want Pigeon to step down. The complaint is over an editorial that the magazine wanted to run on New Year's Day. But without the knowledge of the editors, Tua turned the article calling for political reform into a tribute to the Chinese Communist Party.
The editors have been suppressed for so long. This massive re-edit of their piece is blasphemy for media independence. It's authorities cracking down on the media. Actually, it's a brutal interference of the public's right to express themselves.
Specifically, Southern Weekly editors want an investigation into what they call a, quote, serious violation of press publication procedures. The issue has erupted on China's Twitter-like Weibo. Li Chengpeng, a writer and social critic, has more than 6 million followers, wrote that Tuojen's actions are no different than burning a newspaper. But censors have also stepped in. Southern Weekly is already a block term on Weibo. Several of the magazine's staff also say their accounts have been locked. Reposts of the letter calling for Tuojen to step down are also being deleted. Founded in 1984, the Southern Media Group has a reputation for its bold reporting. Though it is no stranger to run-ins with China's strict propaganda machine, the latest round is proving to be unusually bold, and its editors show no signs of backing down.
Overseas, concerns over China's press freedom has also intensified after reports a Uyghur poet may have passed away during his time in prison. Chinese authorities have not said anything about Murmemet Yasin, and activists want answers.
Prominent Uyghur writer Murmemet Yasin has reportedly died inside a Chinese prison. Activists are urging Chinese authorities to clarify the situation. Chinese human rights lawyer Teng Biao announced Yasin's death on his Twitter account this week. Teng said he died sometime in 2011 in Shaya prison in western China's Xinjiang region. But Yasin's family said they have visited him more recently. Authorities have not given any detail about Yasin's condition.
There are 2 possibilities. He may have really died in prison, or his family is being threatened by authorities not to give out any details.
Murmemet Yasin was arrested in 2004 for writing Wild Pigeon. It's a fictional story about a pigeon that becomes trapped by humans and chooses to commit suicide instead of living in captivity. Chinese authorities claimed Yasin was inciting splittism with a piece and sentenced him to 10 years in prison. According to Amnesty International, Yasin was believed to be in poor health during his incarceration. Shaya prison is known for its harsh conditions. Well-known human rights lawyer Gao Zhisheng is also being held there. His family has complained about prison officials barring them from seeing Gao.
Hong Kong's Chief Executive Leung Chun-yin has faced mounting calls to step down. The latest happened on New Year's Day. Of course, many in Hong Kong still support him, but local media are highlighting the connection of some of those backing Leung and authorities in mainland China.
Tens of thousands of demonstrators took to the streets on Tuesday against Hong Kong's Chief Executive Leung Chun-yin. Also rallying on Tuesday was a smaller group supporting Hong Kong's leader, but they may have been there because of influences from mainland China. As the protest took place, footage surfaced online showing some of those supporters were paid to be there. On Wednesday, Hong Kong media reported the payment likely came from this man. Choi Chi-fung is the Associate Director of Publicity for the new territory's General Chamber of Commerce. Hong Kong-based Mingpao newspaper says the business group has ties to the mainland. Several of its former and existing members were part of different political advisory bodies in China.
We're worried that the central authorities in Beijing are infiltrating Hong Kong groups. If they are, the so-called one country, two system promise, or the autonomous rule of Hong Kong, basically exists only in name now.
The New Year's Day protests against Leung Chun-yin largely called for him to step down. A scandal over illegal structures in his home has put his integrity into question. Leung has also not been able to shake accusations he has close ties with communist authorities in Beijing. The new territory's General Chamber of Commerce has not responded to accusations it paid the protesters. NTD visited the headquarters on Thursday but found no one inside the office. NTD News, Hong Kong.
For years, China's economic rise has been accompanied by another trend: those getting rich trying to move their money out of the country. China's rich and increasingly the emerging middle class have long sought out property investments and other lucrative purchases in the West. Recently, however, border authorities in Canada and the United States have reported a curious spike in another type of transborder currency movement: Chinese coming abroad with huge sums of cash, often in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and often smuggled in luggage without being declared. While the recent surge hasn't been tied to any specific illegal activity, it does suggest a rising sense of anxiety amongst some Chinese. Perhaps amid the current political struggles and corruption crackdowns of Communist Party authorities, many see an urgent need to get themselves and their assets out of China. And coming up after the break, Samsung and LG fined in China for price fixing, why the site has angered environmentalists, and winter is well and truly here now that this theme park is ready to open. And welcome back. 6 Asian makers of LCD screens have been fined $56 million for price fixing. The action against the companies, including Samsung and LG, follows similar suits they face in the United States and Europe.
On Friday, January 4th, 6 makers of LCD screens were fined over $56 million by China's NDRC for monopolizing the market. An investigation discovered that between 2001 and 2006, the 6 companies had met every quarter to discuss market prices.
They weren't just informative exchanges. They actually discussed how to keep in step with each other and sell the LCD panels at uniform prices in the global market at each phase.
The investigation said that at 13 different meetings, the manufacturers discussed the price of LCD screens for the coming months.
The 6 enterprises were too consistent in price bidding. In other words, the fluctuations of their pricing in the same period were entirely identical. In pricing discussions, the Big 6 deprived others of a say in negotiations, giving our younger TV enterprises no room to bargain.
Under China's pricing laws, the manufacturers will have to pay back the profits they made in China through price manipulation. They will also have to pay a lump sum of $23 million in fines. The 6 companies, LG Electronics, Samsung Electronics, and 4 other Taiwanese companies, have been previously charged in U.S. and European courts. Most of the companies have indicated they will pay the fines and will not challenge the court's decision.
For more than 30 years, the Chinese regime has tried to limit population growth in the country with its strict one-child policy. It's led to problems, though, like a rapidly aging population and a shrinking workforce.
Zhang Jiayi and Wu Wen is a typical Chinese couple. They were both raised as an only child. They marry and have their only child, Qi. This is the result of China's one-child policy, 30 years of it. Now more than 200 million Chinese children have no brothers or sisters.
For our generation, in most cases, both parents worked, and during vacation you end up alone at home with the house key around your neck and lonely, no one to play with.
There's another problem: fewer and fewer young workers to keep the country going. That's led to calls to ease the strict birth control policy. For 3 decades, Chinese citizens are told things like, "We'd rather have a river of blood than to let you have an extra birth." Or this one, "Exceed the birth limit and the whole village will be sterilized." State-run People's Daily reports there will be a change in official slogans. Under current rules, Zhang and Wu can actually have a second child because they were both the only child in their family. Parents in rural areas can also register to have 2 children. But for the young couple, the consideration is a more pragmatic one.
Children are a big burden. You need to consider your salary and you need to see what kind of child you already have. Are they well behaved or not?
Badly behaved or not, China needs more children. But a policy change may come too late to reverse China's slide into old age.
Shark fin is a delicacy in China and often features in lavish banquets. But images of thousands of shark fins in an unusual place in Hong Kong has angered animal rights activists.
Thousands of shark fins drying on a building roof in Hong Kong. These images on Thursday have angered environmentalists. One activist who visited the site estimated there were 15,000 to 20,000 shark fins being processed.
They used to dry the fins out on the street. A lot of the public, there was a big public outcry. Tourism, it doesn't look good when tourists are coming to town, seeing all these dead sharks on the street. They've obviously decided to try and hide their ugly game, and they went up to the roofs.
Shark fins are a delicacy in Chinese cooking, but animal rights activists say the way they're obtained is inhumane. Videos of fishermen removing fins from freshly caught sharks and throwing the fish back in the water have sparked outrage. It's led to calls to ban shark fins, but the practice is still legal in Hong Kong, minus a few protected species. This trader says, though, it's not as bad as people think.
That's just what foreigners think. If they've taken the shark meat, why can't the shark fins be used too? You've killed a shark anyway. Some say the sharks are thrown back in the sea after their fins are cut off. I don't think this is true. There just happens to be some video of people throwing them back.
Sharks live longer than most fish and reproduce very slowly. This longer breeding cycle makes them vulnerable to extinction.
It's more the global impact on the ocean's ecosystems. And by taking out an apex predator like the sharks, then obviously the snowball effect down the ecosystems will be unprecedented.
Hong Kong is one of the biggest producers of shark fins. While local demand is decreasing, demand in the mainland is growing. Shark fin can cost as little as $50 a pound and as much as a few thousand.
More than 1,000 international sculptors have put down their tools and are taking a well-earned rest as tourists enjoy the fruits of their labor. Next, we travel to Harbin in Heilongjiang province, where a very cool theme park is preparing for its official open.
A winter wonderland made from ice. The Ice and Snow World is an annual tradition in Harbin, the capital of China's northern Heilongjiang province. It's the largest theme park of its kind in the world, and it's a hit with tourists. We have never seen these things. It's really beautiful. Our classmates came here to see what the winter is like in North China. This ice palace and the other 2,000 artworks on display are made from crystal clear ice taken from the local Songhua River. I have not seen so many ice-carved structures, even though there's also ice in Harbin. It's my first time to enjoy these. It's brilliant. And for those looking for a bit more action in this icy theme park, more than 30 different activities are on offer, including a ride down this massive 460-foot-long slide. It's too fast, too thrilling. It's more thrilling than a roller coaster. The theme park is part of the Harbin Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival, which dates back to 1963. The Ice and Snow World is more recent, first opening in 1999. The park will officially open for 2013 on Saturday, January 5th.
And that wraps up this broadcast of NTD China News. For more on China-related topics, visit our website at ntd.tv or subscribe to our new YouTube channel, NTD on China. Coming up next is this week's episode of Discovering China. Stay tuned.